Hello everyone. Good day, this is Lovelin and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video we are going to study about the topic imagery, diction, and figures of speech in creative writing. Before we begin, here is the learning competency of today's topic. Use imagery, diction, figures of speech and specific experiences to evoke meaningful responses from readers. And at the end of the lesson, students should be able to 1. Use imagery, diction, figures of speech, and specific experiences, and 2. Write a brief literary description or a short paragraph through making sense of pictures and songs. As part of our lesson, let's have a pre-test first. You may pause the video, study, and answer the given questions. Write your answers in a clean sheet of yellow pad paper. What is imagery? Imagery is a vivid and vibrant form of description that appeals to readers' senses and imagination. It is a figurative language used to appeal to the senses through vivid descriptive language. Imagery creates mental pictures in the reader as they read the text. Here is an example from an excerpt from Peter Redgrove's Lazarus and the Sea contains imagery. The tide of my death came whispering like this, soiling my body with its tireless voice. I scented the antique moistures when they sharpened the air of my room, made the rough wood of my bed most dear, standing out like roots in my tall grave. Imagery is used to appeal to the reader's senses and imagination. The example used: imagery as visuals or appeals to the sense of sight. Imagery as sounds or appeals to the sense of hearing. Imagery as scent or appeals to the sense of smell. Imagery as taste or appeals to the sense of taste. Imagery as touch or appeals to the sense of touch. Why do you think writers use imagery? Here are some reasons why writers use imagery. 1. To engage readers, imagery allows readers to see and feel what's going on in a story. It fully engages the reader's imagination, and brings them into the story. 2. To make poetry more interesting, writing without imagery would be dry and dull, while writing with imagery can be vibrant and gripping. 3. To set the scene and communicate character, the description of how a person or place looks, moves, sounds, smells, does as much to tell you about that person or place as any explanation can. 4. To draw symbols, imagery can both describe the world and establish symbolic meanings that deepen the impact of the text. Did you understand what imagery is? Now, let's have diction. What is diction? What is diction in poetry? Diction refers to the selection of words in a literary work. Poetic diction is the term used to refer to the linguistic style, the vocabulary, and the metaphors used in the writing of poetry. It includes the formality of the language, the emotional content, the imagery, the specificity, and the sounds of the words. Here is an example: I prize thy love more than whole mines of gold, or all the riches that east doth hold. Anne Bradstreet, to my dear and loving husband. The use of antiquated words such as thy instead of your and doth instead of do gives the poem a formal diction. In brief explanation, diction is the selection of words that determines the level of writing. However, a good number of factors are involved while determining the diction. First of all, the chosen words should be right and well fitted, and secondly, these words should be used in a right manner. Now that we are done with imagery and diction, let's have figures of speech now. What is figure of speech? What comes in your mind when you hear figures of speech as a topic? Figures of speech are words or phrases used in a non-literal sense for rhetorical or vivid effect. This effect may be rhetorical as in the deliberate arrangement of words to achieve something poetic, or imagery as in the use of language to suggest a visual picture or make an idea more vivid. Overall, Figures of speech function as literary devices because of their expressive use of language. Words are used in other ways than their literal meanings or typical manner of application. Let's have the first figure of speech. 1. Simile: a stated comparison, formed with like or as between two fundamentally dissimilar things that have certain qualities in common. It directly compares two things. Example: does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Langston Hughes, Harlem. 2. Metaphor: an implied comparison between two unlike things that have something in common. A figure of speech that is used to make a comparison between two things that aren't alike but do have something in common. Unlike a simile, where two things are compared directly using like or as, a metaphor's comparison is more indirect, usually made by stating something is something else. Example: hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul. Emily Dickinson, hope is the thing with feathers. For you not to be confused, here are some other examples under simile and metaphor. Three. Onomatopoeia uses words that imitate sounds associated with objects or actions. The process of creating a word that phonetically imitates, resembles, or suggests the sound that it describes. Common onomatopoeias include animal noises such as oink, meow, roar and chirp. Example: the crooked skirt swinging, whack by whack by whack. James Joyce, Ulysses. Other examples: the books fell on the table with a loud thump. He looked at the roaring. The rustling leaves kept me awake. 4. Personification endows human qualities or abilities to inanimate objects or abstraction. It occurs when a thing or abstraction is represented as a person, in literature or art, as an anthropomorphic metaphor. Example: "Ah, William, we're wary of the weather," said the sunflowers shining with dew. William Blake, two sunflowers move in the yellow room. Other examples: her heart was divided between concern for her sister, and resentment against all the others. Here a heart cannot be literally divided for her sister and resentment. She did not realize that opportunity was knocking at her door. Opportunity will never know how to knock. Knocking is an example of human attributes. The river swallowed the earth as the water continued to rise higher and higher. A river will never know how to swallow, only human beings can. 5. Apostrophe is addressing an absent person or thing that is an abstract, inanimate, or inexistent character. Examples: death be not proud, though some have called thee. John Donne, death be not proud. Another examples: oh, Christmas tree, oh, Christmas tree, how lovely are your branches. Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? It is an apostrophe because, although Romeo is a living person and is hiding in her yard and listening to her, Juliet thinks that she is addressing someone who's not present. 6. Hyperbole: a figure of speech which contains an exaggeration for emphasis. It emphasizes, evokes strong feelings, and creates strong impressions. As a figure of speech, it is usually not meant to be taken literally. Example: to make enough noise to wake the dead. R. Davies, what's bred in the bone? Another examples: she's going to die of embarrassment. Here embarrassment can never be a cause of death. I'll love you, dear, I'll love you till China and Africa meet. China and Africa in geographic setting will and can never meet each other. 7. Synecdoche: a figure of speech in which the part stands for the whole, and thus something else is understood within the thing mentioned. It is a figure of speech in which a word or phrase that refers to a part of something is substituted to stand in for the whole, or vice versa. Example: give us this day out daily bread. Bread stands for the meals taken each day. 8. Metonymy, a figure of speech in which the name of an attribute or a thing is substituted for the thing itself. It can refer to the substitution of a term that is connected in any way to the original concept. Example: friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. William Shakespeare, Julius Caesar *, lend me your ears equals to pay attention, to listen. Here are other examples of synecdoche and metonymy for you not to be confused. The brains helped me with my homework. A part to whole synecdoche in which smart students are referred to as brains. The brain being, of course, only one part of them. Nice wheels, a synecdoche in which wheels stand in for the car that they are part of. Ask for her hand refers to asking a woman to marry. She has a green thumb signifies a person is good at gardening. Tell me about your first date. I'm all ears. Ears means for giving attention, listening. Can you give me a hand carrying this box up the stairs? Hand means to give help. I couldn't understand them because they spoke in their mother tongue. Tongue is used in place of language. The two can be confusing, but always remember the definition of synecdoche requires the substituted term to be either a part of the whole or a whole standing in for a part. Metonymy, on the other hand, can refer to the substitution of a term that is connected in any way to the original concept. 9. Oxymoron, a figure of speech which combines incongruous and apparently contradictory words and meanings for a special effect. A figure of speech in which apparently contradictory terms appear in conjunction. Example: here's much to do with hate, but more with love. Why then, oh brawling love! Oh loving hate! Oh anything! Of nothing first create! Oh heavy lightness! Serious vanity! Misshapen chaos of well-seeming forms. William Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet. 10. Paradox, a statement which seems on its face to be logically contradictory or absurd yet turns out to be interpretable in a way that makes sense. A statement that may seem contradictory but can be true, or at least make sense. This makes them stand out and play an important role in literature and everyday life. Example: one short sleep past, we wake eternally and death shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die. John Donne, Death be not proud. Here are other examples for you not to be confused between the two. The difference between oxymoron and paradox is that a paradox is a statement, a series of statements, or a situation, while an oxymoron is simply two contradicting adjacent words. 11. Alliteration, it is a stylistic device in which a number of words, having the same first consonant sound, occur close together in a series. Alliteration is the conspicuous repetition of identical initial consonant sounds in successive or closely associated syllables within a group of words, even those spelled differently. As a method of linking words for effect, alliteration is also called head rhyme or initial rhyme. Example: but a better butter makes a batter better. 12. Assonance, most common, refers to the repetition of interval vowel sounds in words that do not end the same. It is a resemblance in the sounds of words/syllables either between their vowels or between their consonants. Example: he struck a streak of bad luck. Here are other examples for you not to be confused between the two. And we're done with our lesson. I hope you learned something again in this topic. You can use the modules I posted in our Google Classroom and do the practice exercises I prepared for you. That's all for today. Stay safe.